In today's video, we will talk about why your track sounds juicy at the music studio, but when you listen to it using other devices like AirPods and car speakers, it sounds really bad. We're a team of mixing engineers with more than 10 years of experience working in the music industry with major and independent artists. We've released thousands of songs and we've listened to them in various places, be it on YouTube, AirPods, TV, radio, or live concerts. This experience helped us understand why our tracks sounded great at the studio, but the sound changed considerably when we listened to them using other sources. We've fallen into this trap numerous times so that you don't have to, and now we're going to reveal what it's all about. Hello, my name is Ivan. I'm the sound engineer at Major Mixing, an online mixing and mastering service that helps major and independent artists create juicy sound. If you want your tracks to sound like the music of your dreams, don't hesitate to contact us. Now, let's get back to the video. So, the first problem artists face is that their track sounds great only at the studio. But in reality, if the mix sounds bad on 99% of devices, it probably sounds bad at the music studio too. You simply may not have enough experience with monitors, so you think loud sound with juicy low frequency or bright high sounds great. Even if you work with studio monitors a lot, you may still make this mistake. One thing you can do is take a few references, normalize them so they all have the same volume, and compare them to your track. Once you do this, you'll notice there's something wrong with your mix. This way, we're busting the myth that your track can sound good at the studio, but bad on all other devices. In most cases, that's not true. We've got this figured out, but now we need to talk about why there's a sound difference in the first place. The thing is, different sound systems such as earbuds, car speakers, and concert monitors all treat high and low frequencies differently. If we look at the frequency response of different devices, we'll notice that it's all the same. They're pretty much alike in the mid-range frequencies from 200 Hz to 5-6 kHz. Everything that's above and below these frequencies will sound different on various speakers. What makes mixes translate badly to different systems is low-quality mixing in the mid-range. At the studio, you can hear the lows and highs very well, but the mid-range may not be so distinct due to poor mixing, so you don't notice if it sounds bad. If you want your track to sound great, you need to properly mix the middle frequencies so that all the elements don't interfere with each other. The volume of all sounds such as kick, snare, head, and basses should be well balanced on all levels, especially in the middle. The vocals should sound good in the mid-range without being too thin. Also, make sure the arrangement doesn't interrupt the vocals. That is, we should pay maximum attention to the mid-frequency so that they sound nearly perfect in all aspects. To do that, you can use various techniques. You can add equalizers to the master channel, cut the high and low frequencies, and balance the mid-range during the mixing stage. There are also many plugins like Waves and X that can emulate the sound of consumer electronics. You can use actual home devices to ensure that your mix sounds good in the mid-range on all of them. Make sure there are no frequency conflicts, the accompaniment doesn't interfere with the vocals, and the kick and snare don't mess with the overall arrangement. When we make a mix that sounds great with cut lows and highs, then it'll translate well to all the devices. After that, you only need to balance out the high and low frequencies so that your mix meets all the music industry standards and you're good to go. The next point, and the most important one, is that the majority of mixes that don't translate well to other devices are too compressed and too massive. If you take a modern overcompressed EDM mix, it will sound different on all types of sound systems. But if you put on the classic music from the 70s and 80s, such as funk, pop, and rock, it'll sound the same on all devices. Why is that? Because the simpler the mix and the lighter it is, the better it sounds on different gadgets. For example, if the mix sounds soft, then it'll sound soft no matter what speakers you use, be it at the music studio or on some consumer devices. This rule helps you create a mix that sounds the same everywhere. You just need to make it simpler and more modest. If we look at the Billboard Top 100 hits, we'll see that this is exactly the current trend. All popular mixes are simple, not too punchy, and without very distinct highs and lows. They sound soft, transparent, and dynamic. That's why they translate great to different sound systems and become popular fast. Amateurs, on the other hand, try to make a complicated mix and have the corresponding results. They get an overcompressed mix that doesn't sound good anywhere except the music studio or concert monitors in some cases. To sum up all these nuances, it all comes down to hiring a professional sound engineer who has a lot of experience working in the music industry. You need to work with a pro who has made all these mistakes and knows how to make a mix sound good no matter what. Next, you shouldn't do everything yourself. If you've made a mix and it sounds mediocre, then you should think about improving the quality of your production and start working with professionals like us. The last point I want to make is that you should keep things simple. Sure, your track should translate well to various devices, but we often see people getting obsessed with creating the perfect mix. You shouldn't overcomplicate it. No matter what you do, your mix will sound one way at the music studio and a bit differently on speakers. It may even sound completely different. What you should really pay attention to is that all the elements read well across different devices. The balance should be good, and the vocals and the arrangement should be clear and cohesive. It's not such a big deal if your track sounds a bit different when you put it on consumer devices. Just make sure that there are no big mess-ups and that's it. Always work with professionals. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to get our latest updates.